Hello there, everybody. Sorry about that. I was muted a bit at the beginning. Oh boy, what a day. I'll let everybody just come in a little bit. Once we get more than 5 or 6 viewers, then perhaps I can start. Although, given the number of people that are here, I don't know if I'll be able to get 5 viewers yet. But oh man, have I got a story for you guys to tell? Have I got a story to tell you guys? And this is just one of those internet things. Only on the internet, only on the internet can you find uh, these kinds of people. Seriously. Okay, I'll just 2 people watching. Yeah, you are a couple of my favorite fans right now. Whoever is watching this, because you decided to come on, uh, and now there's only one. Maybe I'll just do this rant right now, and this is going to be a rant because I just saw something that made me just stop and realize the sheer insanity of the internet. Um, and it's surprisingly it's not from. I don't think it's from an SJW. I think it's from the anti SJW crowd, those a libertarian type of guy. And you'll see why in a moment. First, I'd like to give a big shout out to one of my one of the I want to give a shout out to somebody. This guy here, 21st Reaction. He made a great video earlier today about his predictions for the future of progressivism. And if you'd like to go and watch that, you feel free to do so after you share, comment on this live stream, and after you've watched my raw takes. It's there for anybody to watch. And to be honest, I really like this guy. He's a pretty decent guy. Kind of obsessed with the crypto thing, but otherwise he's awesome. He's way better at video making than I am, and I can only hope to catch up to him one day. I might just catch up to him pretty soon. Who knows? But today I want to go over a couple of comments on that I found that were found on my like comment thing. Like, you know how if you're a YouTuber like I am, you know how you can go to YouTube Studios, like over here, go to YouTube Studios, and you can bring up the comments, and you can bring up the comments on all your videos, including the ones that YouTube holds in reserve because they have spam-like qualities or because they have inappropriate language. And these were 2 of the comments I found in that section. And oh boy, was I glad that these comments were not on my video. By the way, if you saw the earlier version of this thing, I accidentally posted this person's name. I don't want you to go and visit this guy. I don't want you to harass him or anything. I just don't give him any attention. I'm going to leave him anonymous. If he's watching this, he'll know what I'm talking about. But this is going to be not aimed at him specifically, but aimed at the kinds of people who have these kinds of opinions. And there are plenty of people like this online. Maybe not in real life, but there are plenty who are like this online. So this is the first one. This is a response to this video. I did on the anti-SJWs called the Eternal Bellyachers. And to give some context, this video was a response to Louis Levi, who's one of these kinds of cultural libertarians. Although Louis Levi is more to the right of these people now because he's getting very strong, because he's very right wing when it comes to things like immigration and law enforcement and things like that. Yeah, the Eternal Bellyachers is a video responding to these kinds of anti-SJW types who they're upset with the SJWs mainly because of like pop culture and their interference in pop culture, and they just want to sit and they just want to have their video games and comic books, and they don't really care about the larger political issues. A lot of these people are just kind of libertine types. All right, and I considered Louis to be part of them because he makes a lot of content that reflects their kind of talking points, and and we're going to get to that in just a moment. But yeah, this is going to be this was a response to this video. This was a comment that that was going to be in the comment section of this video. So this one says, so this says, disagree. Fictional media are not people. This is the same thing as arguing that GTA causes people to abuse drugs, be violent, commit extremely severe felonies like larceny and murder. Spare me. I think you have a rough argumentative style, but when you start out by misrepresenting the argument against the state regulating art, I'm sorry, I won't take you seriously. And the real issue is you sort of throw in the lolicon question as a whataboutism before moving on to the dead horse of the Gamergate chuds is stupid, haha, lol. I really do have high hopes for you and your channel, and against my better judgment, I am subscribing, but you need more experience presenting your commentaries. And I would argue against going with the millennial woes or the distributionist candidates. It's kind of irritating for me, which is a bit personal nitpick. But they both have done some excellent commentaries. I'll listen to some of your other videos before I personally insult you. Well, thank you, random commenter. I'm glad you didn't personally insult me this time. It warms my heart that these people are so considerate. This is genuinely heartfelt. I'm being sarcastic here. You know, this is the internet. I can take being personally insulted. You know, I react to personal insults by not giving a shit, generally speaking. The only exception being when the person slandering me has a large enough audience so that their audience starts harassing me, or it starts dragging my name through the mud. You know, something like that. You know, I have a reputation. It's not much of a reputation, but I do have a reputation to protect. I'm not sure about this distributist or millennial woes cadence. Maybe I have a similar style. I'll admit that a lot of my channel and my style are based off of the distributist because he's a huge inspiration for my channel. But I'd like to think that the ideas that I cover and what I do with this channel are pretty different from his. You know, he does a lot of he does a lot of cultural reviews. He does a lot of long thinks on current political topics. Whereas my channel, I tend to try to go for the big picture, abstract ideas, and or just rattle off whatever is on the top of my head. You know, one of those two. And this is one of the latter, in case you haven't noticed. Anyway, but this is the first paragraph. This is the first paragraph that's really interesting. Fictional media are not people. This is the same thing as arguing that GTA causes people to use drugs, be violent, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so this is this is when I see this, when I see this kind of thing, it makes me think that you didn't watch my video. And the reason why I know you didn't watch my video is because I linked two studies here for my video. The first one was television and role models, television role models and fertility, evidence from a natural experiment. And this paper essentially says here that in this paper, we study the effect of television exposure on fertility. We exploit a natural experiment that took place in Germany after World War II. For topographical reasons, Western TV programs, which promoted one to no child families, could not be received in certain parts of East Germany. Using an IV approach, we find robust evidence that watching West German TV results in lower fertility. This conclusion is robust to alternative model specifications and datasets. Our results imply that individual fertility decisions are affected by role models or information about other ways of life promoted by media. And then we have this study here, India's plummeting birth rate, a television-induced transformation. So in this one, it does the same thing. It shows that Stanford University shows the same thing that happening in India uh, due to the same cause, being exposed to Western television that shows people having less kids. They're shown smaller families on television, so they have smaller families in real life. And it gets to the heart of this thing. There's this conceit that media has no effect on people. This isn't really true. And this is an extrapolation of the meme that video games don't cause violence, which is scientifically based. There isn't any evidence. The evidence that video games cause violence is very loose. But that's not the same thing as saying that no media has no effect on anybody ever. Um, Pop culture, fictional media does have an effect on people. It influences the way specifically it influences their perceptions of reality. It in if you watch if you do video games like GTA 5, whether you consciously know it or not, you are going to be influenced in how you see the world by GTA 5. It might not get you to. I brought up GTA 5 because I said in the video, it might not get you to be violent, but it will influence how you look at crime uh, and police and things like that. Because, and that's, I mean, why do you think, and I also bring up advertisement. Like if fictional media can't convince people things, why the hell did they have advertisements, right? I bring up advertisements because they do. This is there's no way that corporations wouldn't spend would just spend billions of dollars on advertisements if they weren't having an effect on people. Okay, and they don't just give you the raw data of what their products are like. They go out of their way to hire celebrities to get you to buy their product. So this whole thing about video games not causing violence, video games are just blah blah. No, no, this is kind of misleading. You can't extrapolate video games don't cause violence to fictional media doesn't affect people at all. All right. And so he starts talking about how I'm misrepresenting the argument against the state regulating art. Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but I didn't make a video specifically about censorship. I made a video about basically the complaint. The video was about the liberal anti-SJW complaint that liberal progressives are putting their propaganda into popular culture, and and I steelmanned that argument. I didn't strawman it. I steelmanned it based on liberal philosophy. All right. So I understand. I didn't directly cover the issue of censorship, but I only brought up the whole lolicon thing in the context of Louis Levi because Louis Levi has been on record saying that, on the one hand, that he defends the freedom of speech to have lolicon, which, in case you don't know, that's um, like animated depictions of child porn, animated. It's basically animated child pornography, lolicon. Um, it- Depicting that he defend at one point he defends that as a part of being protected by freedom of speech, but then he complains about how people are causing real life sexual abuse of children, and how progressives are saying things like love has no age. You know, that's something that's a position that's very difficult for him to defend, and I know he can defend it, but the kind of mental gymnastics needed to defend it is makes me question why he's going through the effort. um, so that's a thing. That's one thing that I want to uh, make clear. That's But then we're getting to the next comment by this same person, just a few weeks later, and this was a comment that was going to be on this video. Is there a way forward with my interview with Ubersoy? Now, disclaimer: Ubersoy, I have some major disagreements with him, ideologically speaking. He's uh, he's a materialist, he's a eugenicist, he's a Darwinian, and those are all positions that I have some trouble with, personally speaking. But regardless, he and I both agreed, and he said in the video that he was against the free distribution of pornography. He says that freedom of speech doesn't protect pornography, and that's the context of this. And now we get this excellent. This is an excellent comment that really encapsulates the problem I have with these kinds of cultural libertarian types. When he quotes, when the spreading pornography, I think that should be banned. Blah blah blah. He's quoting us in a shoddy way, and then he says, "I'm not defending child abusers. I am a free speech absolutist. And the problem with your principled position, dear Ubersoy, you are giving your enemy an out. We abused all these right wing pornographers and pedophiles. Hoorah! Dude, if you're part of a group that mutually agrees this association is for serious speech only, and you enforce that peer to peer, fair enough. But you can only ban something if it is centralized, and you will be giving that central authority a tool. And how long exactly before they start smashing you with that tool? We can see this over and over and over, not just in internet cultural history, but all of the politics. If you permit something arbitrary to be a means by which justify execution, a fucking baseless thought crime, not abetting a hostile interest, that will become a tool for assassination, blackmail, bribery, and whatever other machinations. Oh wow, that's as a side note, you can tell that this person is sane. It doesn't have to involve anything physically harmful. It could be green ball cap hats, the most apolitical shit possible. This always fucking happens. Yes, pornography is not relevant to serious political dialectic. So be a grown ass man and don't fucking post it and inject to the people that do. You don't need a hierarchy to enforce arbitrary social conduct. You don't need to give subversives an out, which to false flag everyone by almost literally poisoning the well. You just force the porn posters out. Fucking everyone blocks them. You don't acknowledge it. You just silently click a button, and that account can't transmit messages to you. Literally turn off the screen and it goes away. Your opinion seems remarkably myopic. Again, not defending child abuse or the public distribution of evidence therein, but seriously, pull this thread until you find out what is on the other end. It is a free I win button for your opponents. Sargon just posted porn over and over until he got suspended, thought it was funny. See how fucking easy it is for one subversive to ruin a community? Ah, oh boy. This person. This is such a terrible comment, honestly. And your stuff about not support defending child abuse. Well, you doth protest much, my friend. You doth protest much. Seriously, seriously. Like, where do I start with this? Oh my gosh. Uh, this kind of comment that you can only ban something as centralized, giving a central authority a tool. How long exactly before they start smashing you with that tool? My friend, have you seen 2020 lately? Have you seen what these people are doing right now? That's right. They already have a central authority thing up in a centralized apparatus up and ready. They are, as we are speaking, they are just on the cusp of creating a privatized version of the Chinese social network, social credit, whatever it's called, the Chinese social credit score system. They're creating a privatized version of that in America. Apple, the bank, the Chase banks, the credit card companies, Google, all of these companies are going to be working together to create this whole thing where if they don't like your search history, they will ban you from the stuff. So don't give me this hypothetical that, oh, if you call for things to be banned, that will create a censorship thing. They already do have that. All right, they already have a censorship thing, even with your even with your little free speech amendment that prevented the state from enacting hate speech laws. You know what's going to happen? They're just going to have these people are just going to get private actors to do the work of the state for them. And it's going to be a lot more informal that way. Thanks to you. Thanks, free speech absolutists. Really appreciate that. Like, I'm sorry, I can't take the kinds of libertarian arguments that if you don't support absolute free speech, then they'll use that power against you. If you use the state, they'll use that power against you. Like, that's not how that works. How things happened in reality is that libertarians like you took over the right wing and whispered in the ears of donors that, oh wow, this social conservative stuff, that's really going downhill. Maybe we should focus on economics instead. And then what happened? The left fills the void. The left takes over culture and starts cramming it all down our throats. That is what actually happened in reality. This hypothetical of did not happen in reality. What happened in reality is that people like you took over the right and then it cucked to the left. That's what happened. So don't give me this. All right. Oh, and this is arbitrary. Yeah, this is totally sensible. It's a tool for assassination, blackmail, bribery, and whatever other machinations. If we ban porn, oh my gosh! Like, you do know that they had porn bans up until like the mid 20th century, right? They did ban pornography in in America before then, and it wasn't considered to be in violation of the First Amendment. It's just I can't I can't believe someone will actually I can believe someone was like this because I've seen this so many times. These same arguments repeated ad nauseum by people who have their heads too stuffed with comic book trivia and porn to recognize that there is a wider political reality or that they're not paying attention to because their heads are filled with comic book trivia again. So it always fucking happens. No, it doesn't. Like this is the equivalent of going like if you enforce the law, then babies will be killed in the streets and will eaten. Like this is so over the top. It's ridiculous, and it's like pornography is not relevant to serious political dialectic. Really, now it isn't. Why then did this kind of liberalization of culture happen at right around the time that pornography started becoming normalized? Why did all of these sexual liberation movements, these sexual identity movements, start just going through the roof in terms of their mainstream acceptance after the culture was pornified? Why did that happen? Oh, must have been a coincidence. Oh, I mean, it must have also been a coincidence that transgender porn is such a huge influence on things. Like, just use your head for a moment. Do you think that people who who watch fictional media, the normies who watch media uncritically, especially something as intoxicating as pornography, which can literally cause brain damage to people and get people addicted to it. Do you think that doesn't have an effect? The memes that are perpetuated through that don't have an effect on people. At the very least, it's going to make people relax their standards just a wee bit and give these subversives an opening. All right, and then it says, don't you don't like pornography, so don't effing post it and eject people that do. Yeah, this is the equivalent of say of if you don't like abortions, don't have one yourself. That's it's that kind of equivalence. And the problem with that is it ignores the fact that we live in a society, that societies have there is a standard of public morals that has to be enforced, or else we don't have a society. And if we don't enforce these morals, if we don't enforce these standards, then everything will go down to the lowest common denominator. And this is exactly what's happened in our culture. Exactly what's happened in our society. So, yeah, and and it's just you just don't know what you're talking about on any level. Honestly, your mind has been completely corrupted by lust. As if I were to guess what's happened to you, you are so addicted by lust and pornography that you just don't seem to know what's going on, and so you're so irrationally defensive of your habit that you're just going to take it out on other people. You know, you're just going to write this because this doesn't really. That is a perfectly logical explanation for this, and because I know that if you actually were paying attention to reality, and you were actually looking at the situation and looking at what people like myself and 21st Reaction and Settlers Lament and Orrin McIntyre and all these other people have been saying for the past year and a half or so, you would know at the very least that this libertarian line of well, if you ban it, then the enemy will use that power against you. That assumes a like a pendulum back and forth swing of politics, and it also assumes that the left, it's just like a natural law that the left and right will just trade places. That's not really how things uh, ac- uh, actually work in universally. That only has happened in in democratic politics. I'm not a supporter of democratic politics. The answer to the answer to like what will happen if the left gets in power and he has these tools. The answer to that is, well, first you have to make sure the left doesn't make power left wing proof, leftist proof. You have to basically put power into the hands of a sovereign that does not tolerate this shit, and and uh, and then he'll censor pornography and all this other filth, and then it will, yeah, and then what will happen is that it will be a lot harder for people to access this, and it won't have as big of a power over the culture. Those memes won't have as widespread an influence. That's literally all that is, right? And you say that this is arbitrary. No, there are literal, moral, natural law reasons why this is a good thing. Go watch my video on libertarianism, where I defend conservative communitarianism, and you can go and read about Thomas Aquinas and the kinds of arguments he had against the obscene vice, for instance, and go read about the eight daughters of lust. Like there's in fact, I'll give you a thing. This is Edward Feser. See this guy? This is Edward Feser. You can look this up, right? He has an entire roundup of all of his pieces on sexual morality. You know, all of his academic articles, his blog posts talking about romance, romantic obsession, sexuality, the sexual revolution, sexual identity, gay marriage. He talks about all of these different things, all of these different issues. You could just go to them. You just go to Edward Feser, Love and Sex Roundup. He gives you the full lowdown on all of these issues. Yeah, that's all I really have to say. And again, I'll repeat. If you saw the earlier version of this, early version of those screenshots where that had the name of this guy, just don't interact with him. Don't harass him. This is the kind of this kind of personality type is very common on the internet, uh, because he is not like the end all and be all of this. He's just like a representative sample. No doubt, like he's watched people on the internet that have given him these ideas. He's watched some anti SGW channel that promotes these ideas, and those people are to blame for this. Uh, you can go and if you find one of those types of channels, you can send me the link. You can send them the link to my Eternal Bellyacres video, or maybe even this video, and you can and you can have them and tell them to respond to it. Otherwise, don't harass anybody. Don't bully anybody. You just have to step over them, as they say. You have to just move on with this. This is like a public service announcement type of video. I'm doing this because because I want to inform my audience and because I just needed to get this off my chest. Because, my gosh, I've run into this argument so much online, it really just irks me, honestly. It just kind of irks me. Um, wake up, people. It's 2021. The whole free speech absolutist line doesn't work. And arguably it never has. So just get over yourselves and embrace social conservatism, because really that's the only thing that can provide a real alternative to the mainstream. Not in a like, oh, it'll help you get elected type of way, but in a, this is actually an idea that if implemented could help, uh really, it could really help heal our country type of way. um in the meantime, if you are living private lives of virtue, if you are able to find other people who are doing so and get together with them, and form a network that can help each other out, that's where we need to start. Because things are going to get a lot worse. I recommend 21st Reaction's video on this. He goes into detail of about where this is going, and believe me, it's not pretty. But he paints a very vivid picture, and I highly recommend just watching this and watching that video. Again, 21st Reaction in his video on progressive utopia. All right. Um, that's the end of this video. I hope you guys like, share, comment, and subscribe. If you want more of these rants, and leave a comment telling me how much you like this off the cuff style. If you don't want more of these rants, then leave a comment telling me how much you don't like this style. Either way, I'm game for that. So yeah, you just have a nice day and good night, everybody.